Maestro. Press the goddamn.
Mario.
Drums, please. Oh, goats, please.
Come on. Chop, chop.
Yes, sir. We got in this bitch.
It's like a big village.
Yeah.
And there's like
I love
goats
this
and
beat, man.
cars.
Go.
Who made this?
YouTube.
YouTube.
Hey,
YouTube.
YouTube.
YouTube. Produced by YouTube.
YouTube.
Entertainment.
Yes, sir. Yo, what it do, cousins? It's your boy, Benny Hunnits. I'm with the Funk is Real as always, and we got a special guest with us today. My brother, Haile Supreme.
Woo, peace. It's Haile Supreme. Shashaman for Lashaman, the original one.
Wow, I like this one, man. You have to record this one, man. This is album itself. But
It's good. It's
That's
good.
it,
It's
man.
great.
Welcome, man. Welcome to the Triple D, bro.
Yo, Dallas has been showing me love. I pulled up. Ross Nephew, Benny, they taking good care of me. So if you pull up to Dallas, holla at him.
That's it, man. Just pulled up, like just landed.
Just landed. Yeah, just landed, bro.
Yeah, man.
This your first time out here, right?
First time in Dallas. I've been to South by Southwest a couple times.
Mm-hmm.
Went to Houston a couple times, but I've never been to Dallas.
Well, welcome to the Triple D.
Triple D, that's what they call it?
That's dirty Dallas. Yeah.
Oh, word.
You ain't see people. That's crazy. People outside of Dallas do not know the term Triple D.
Nah. And what you don't even realize, so if you look at like the Dallas logo, it has, I guess, 3 Ds in it.
Like the official one.
Yeah, the
Okay.
official Dallas.
Yeah.
So hence, Triple D.
Triple D, don't.
Yeah, man.
You just learned some Dallas
Hell yeah.
history right
Dallas
there.
history right there. Now you
I
are
always
official.
thought Texas had really dope culture and even the way they influence a lot of music. So it's dope to be out here. I want to stay a little bit longer.
Hey, man, you welcome, bro. You know, I got a couch for you.
Hey,
Yeah, man. You're not a vegan or something like that, are you?
nah, I'm pescatarian.
Pescatarian?
Yeah,
Oh, okay. Damn, I was going to like recommend burgers and steaks. That's what we good for.
That's what we good.
I'm
at.
sure that shit is crazy
yeah,
in
it's
Texas.
insane.
We good for beef too. You know what I'm saying? That's what I like about our
Yeah.
barbecue. It's not like other places in the South is like pork based and then we out.
Yeah.
But we beef down here, brisket,
No
Vegas, steaks. You know what I'm talking
What's the
about?
difference between brisket and steak?
The way it's the where it's from on the body of the cow and then the way it's cut and cooked. It's different.
It's good to know.
You don't know brisket?
Nah. I never
But he's a
knew.
pescatarian.
Oh yeah. Why do you know? Why would you know brisket?
Like that. Yeah, you can't brisket salmon.
Damn, you right. Damn, but
I had some fire salmon burgers though.
where at?
Fish, like, yeah, I don't even know, man. On the road, just traveling.
Yeah.
Some places they be having it and it be fire.
Word, man. So, for the people who don't know, you be traveling and shit, right? Give the people a little bit.
Yeah.
We'll bring you into the
Introduce 'em.
village.
Word.
You know what I'm saying? You the newest member of the village. Talk
Yes,
to the
sir.
folks, man.
So my fault for my quality right now. I gotta, like, my sinuses is fucked up, so I'm gonna be sniffling a lot. But I'm on tour right now. I'm on tour with Oprah. She's doing a 2020 Visions tour, and we've been doing an arena tour, opening up for her.
Yeah.
I've been performing with Daybreaker, which is like a sober morning dance, like crowd activation phenomenon. You know, we really activate the crowd.
Yeah.
And Oprah comes on stage right after us, and she talks about, like, you know, how to manifest your visions and goals and enrich your wellness. And it's really a well-rounded, dope event. And it's to be able to go and perform and actually sit in the crowd after, like, I feel like I'm actualizing my goals more now. I'm more on it and more inspired, you know?
Yeah, I mean, you're in front of 15,000 people.
15,000
a
people
city.
each city, and they're all going crazy. And they're
Yeah.
all, like, it's the energy. I've never felt that energy before. Like, it's wild. Because I feel like for the last couple of years, my input as far as my effort hasn't really changed. I've been still 100 to the wall.
Yeah.
But it's just crazy. Something clicked in the last year, and where I just showed up at the right place at the right time, and I treated every show like it was 1 million people there.
Yeah.
And that literally what got me into these positions to make plays and be able to, like, perform in front of all these people. And last year I was able to be blessed and, like, link up with Static Selector and do an incredible amount of features with people I grew up listening to and like just connecting with them. And that all came from my brother Simba, who's an incredible artist, Simba Selassie. we opened up for Dave East in Queens.
Yeah.
And Static Selector was in the crowd. And he came there to see this dude, Marlon Craft.
Yeah.
He seen Marlon Craft and he saw us perform and he sent me a message on Instagram. And I'm like is this really Static Selector? What the fuck? Why, how is he messaging me?
Yeah.
And then I went back upstairs after the show just to walk out in the crowd and meet some people. And him and this dude Terminology, another incredible rapper, walked up to me and was like, yo, we got to get in the studio. And boom, just from and that next day I said, yo, let me pull up to the studio. That first night, I was just warming up on the microphone.
Yeah.
And that ended up being the song that MOP got on, like Lil Fame.
Yeah.
And Term. And that was the first, like, real collab we did. And now, it's crazy. I was at Static Studio the other day. We have over 150, like, hooks and ideas and songs.
Yeah.
150 over the last year.
That's crazy.
So many different, like, I was able to do, like, 3 or 4 songs with 2 Chainz. A lot of records on Static's new album, like big records on Static's new album.
Yeah.
So I've just been blessed, you know, like to all the other people out there who are artists and trying to do it. Like your input has to stay the same regardless of what the like circumstance is. And you may not know when it's gonna come, but you just gotta be ready and stay prepared, you know.
Word.
Like I really feel like I put in my 10,000 hours when I was doing tours around the country with my old band Congo Sanchez. I toured this whole country in a Prius. Like in a Prius.
Sheesh.
Like been on the road 2 months. Car broke down. Fucked up in Colorado. Like so many different. Like, it was almost like punk rock like type of touring.
Yeah.
That shit gave me so much character and so much appreciation and gratitude. Like the hotels we be staying at on this tour, it's incredible.
Yeah.
The way they feed us at every show is like feasts I never had before, bro. Like crazy shit. So like I don't know, bro. I treated every show like there was a million people there, and I manifested, and that all just came to my life, you know.
That's
not a million, but 15,000.
Yeah.
Barclays Center was, I think, it was 15 or 16,000. We got to open up for Oprah, and then Michelle Obama was there. It was incredible.
Yeah,
it was incredible. It was the energy was next level. It was
That's
crazy,
what's up, bro.
Yeah. Right now I just feel really blessed and grateful, and I'm just it's not that hard to actualize your dreams. I mean, it's easier said on this side of it, I guess, whatever. But like, don't give up. You could do that shit. Just treat the one thing I've learned after all these years is treat every show like it's your last show, and treat every show like there's 100,000 people watching you. And the energy that you will attract will increase exponentially. So that's one of the biggest things I learned.
That's what's up, man.
Yeah.
And that's like that translates, right? It's very relatable, and your whole, obviously, I know you personally, right? But just the whole narrative and like story of your artistry and how you grew in that, but then also just like your just personally how you grew up.
Yeah.
It's a very like Abisha diaspora story.
Very much so.
You know what I'm saying? Like, growing up, being born out here, going back out there. You know what I'm saying? Give the people a little background on the Big Supreme.
Yeah, I grew up originally in Jersey. Both of my parents worked for United Nations, so they would travel back from Ethiopia and back and forth a lot. And then my brother Simba ended up living in Ethiopia. He went to ICS from I think 6th to 8th grade. So during that time, I was going there for Christmas and summer. So I was like spending a lot of time in Ethiopia, and I went for every summer from like age 9 to age 18.
Oh shit!
But then after that, I didn't go until 2018.
Okay.
And I seen the country change so much. It was like back when I was in Ethiopia, the biggest building was Dumbbell.
Yeah.
That's how long ago it was when I was really, really spending a lot of time back home. But I really want to change that. I'm trying to go back. So I'm trying to manifest that to the universe right now. I'm going to Ethiopia this year. So
Big facts.
I'm claiming it.
Yeah. What you want to do out there?
I want to connect with my roots. I want to really soak up the lineage of our music and how ancient it is. Because that's one thing I feel like growing up in America and being an American musician and pulling from a lot of influences, I really want to do my due diligence and like study. I would love to get a certificate or something from Yardage School of Music, honestly. That's something I really want to do.
Yeah.
Really want to do sooner than later. Study with actual, learn all the scales and everything.
Yeah.
That's something I'm really trying to absorb into my music.
Yeah, that's what guys next.
Heart, yeah.
You want to incorporate it into your music, yeah. Phew.
So you were saying something about your influences. What are some of your influences, or who are some of your influences?
Some of my biggest influences, Sade, Damian Marley, Bill Withers a lot. Of course, Bob Marley, but Bill Withers I really like a lot. I got a lot of my inflections when I sing soul from like studying Bill Withers. He's incredible, and then Erykah Badu, she's incredible. And one of the first albums I used to hear in the house on repeat was Jamiroquai's. I used to hear that one song, Virtual Insanity.
Yeah.
And that's kind of like absorbed into my musical DNA. So like, I love jazzy, funky music, but then also being Ethiopian and the lineage between Jamaica and Ethiopia and Rasta and reggae music, like we absorb that too in Ethiopia. Yeah. So I like mixing jazz, funk, and reggae and everywhere in between.
Yeah. That spectrum is crazy with you too, bro. I remember, what's that song called? Ross, I think.
Yeah.
Where you come through like sounding like one of the old tapes.
Yeah, man. I was so honored to be on that record, bro.
Yeah. Well, who was it by?
So by this dude named Dexter Story, excuse me. Dexter Story out of Los Angeles.
Yeah.
Man, and he played a lot of the instruments on that. Like his knowledge, I think he's pursuing a graduate degree in like Otomo studies right now.
Wow.
His knowledge and how he honors Ethiopia is so special because he's not Ethiopian, but he can play that music just as well as anybody else can, you know?
Yeah.
And the way he put that album together and he actually did his studying of the culture. He went there, like he did it the proper way, you know? And I met him out when I played Cape Town Jazz Fest in 2018. Which was amazing. Cape Town is so beautiful. It was so dope. Even the way they run the festival was the most professional. Like it was perfect. But I met him out there because he was working with Robert Glasper, I think. Yeah, he was working with Robert Glasper. And then I reached out to him. We did a record. And I originally had my mother singing in the background. So for me, that was a big moment for me to like return to like, you know, always feeling like I'm not Ethiopian enough to be American and not American enough to be Ethiopian, you know what I mean? Like, or being too Ethiopian to be American and too American to be Ethiopian. So I was able to collaborate on a song with my mom where she sang on it. So for me, it was like, because your mom's voice is one of the first things you ever hear, you know, even when you're in her belly.
Right, big facts.
So like, it was special to be able to have her. I recorded her through the cell phone because I had her write the lyrics. She wrote the lyrics for that for me. So to collab on it, because originally she wanted to be a singer a long time ago, but you know, growing up at that time, being a singer wasn't really all that high on the totem pole. Mm-hmm. So she didn't pursue it, but that was always like a dream of hers. So I'm like fulfilling that with her, like having her record on the song. It was a big moment for me. Like it felt like a whole like diaspora. I mean, for the ended up version, they ended up cutting it and shortening it out, but it was at the outro. But that version I have, and I listen to it all the time. I play it for y'all, but her voice is incredible, man. That was like real emotional for me to hear her on a song, and we collabed on it because, you know, Ethiopian parents, they don't usually support you being an artist.
Yeah.
So finally, for her to like approve and like to collab on it with me, and her fulfilling her dreams a little bit of being on a song, and like the fact that I sang a song that my mom wrote the lyrics to, like that's powerful, you know?
Yeah.
That's powerful. So I'm really honored for that experience. So shout outs to Dexter Story.
That's what's up. I didn't even know all that.
Yeah,
even asking the question, I had no idea because I was playing it for El earlier.
Yeah,
I wanted him to hear it. I was like, this, you know, obviously I listened to a bunch of your different stuff, but that one always blew my mind because when I hear it, you would think like this is something made, you know, 30, 40 years ago. Like, you know, like you said, instrumentation is on point. Your vocals are on point. Like, and then come to find out, like, y'all did that, like, recent.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's you on there.
Yeah, man.
Trip me out, man.
That record is really dope. Even the whole album. The whole album is really, really dope. So check that out, Dexter Story.
What is that the name of the album, too?
But I think the name of the album is Bahir, Bahir.
Yeah.
That's how you spell it.
Yeah. That's fire, bro.
I think that's it. I think that's what it is.
Yeah, all you gotta do is look up Dexter Story.
Just look up Dexter Story.
Pop up. Yeah. Man, now I was definitely mind blown by that, bro. I can't. For me, this like, we were talking about this earlier. Bridge building and like doing, because we're detached whether we want to, you know, admit it or not, right?
Yeah.
Obviously, we're a generation away. We're up 10,000 miles away from our roots. Now, granted, that's a lot closer than most people, right? That's a lot closer than, you know, most of America knowing where they come from and stuff like that. But to be able to build that bridge, and like you literally like brought history to the present with that. That's how I felt when I was listening to that, knowing like where that sound and everything comes from, but then also knowing like who's actually doing it right now. That's what blew my mind more than anything. I appreciate
that, bro.
You feel
man.
me?
And I really want to. That song has inspired me to really want to pursue that lane. I don't even want to call it a lane. That tradition, you know.
Yeah.
I want to explore because there's so many musical traditions in all the different tribes in Ethiopia that are so incredible, you know.
Yeah.
So I think part of my path and my journey is it's gonna go back to the roots.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's super fire.
When you say go back to the roots, and,
musically, spiritually, everything, man. Yeah.
Is it more so like within the sound of it?
Yeah, specifically with that statement, yeah.
So have you been, I guess, like currently, like what are you working on? Are you like doing anything centered around that?
Nah, I'm not doing anything centered around it. Now, I've been in this other bag lately. I've been making these real soulful, like sensual, silky records, you know, like really Sade influence, and I'm really happy about how the drums sound, and they're like real crisp. So I'm really happy. Like this last batch of music I've been making, this last batch of cookies is banging.
Yo, it was real smooth, man.
Big fact.
This last batch is smooth, and it's all cohesive, which I'm really happy about. Because the way the Oprah tour is routed, that I've been on for 5 weeks so far, 5 or 6, we fly into the city each Thursday and leave usually Saturday or Sunday. So from Monday to Wednesday, those days are sacred now because those days I'm back home in New York. I don't have a week to just dilly-dally, so I'm on it. It's really dope how it's motivated me. I record so much more just in those 3 days because I know I don't have time. You know, that limitation is sometimes it really helps.
Yeah. You're recording at the Tangerine House?
Exactly. Shout out to Tangerine House in Brooklyn, T1, T2, what up?
Yes, sir. The Tangerine House, man, blessed me when I pulled up, when I just landed back from back home, man. Had me posted up, man. It's like a collective crib they got.
Wow.
It's so dope, man. It's such an honor to live there. It's so many amazing creatives, and there's a real dope, like collaborative energy in the house. Especially because of how dope the space is, how much of it like a gem that it is, and we got our own backyard and a stage and a full studio. It's like it's the best vibe I've felt at a crib in New York. Yeah.
Yeah. How long you been living in New York?
Grew up in Jersey, went to high school in New York, moved back to DC for like 9-10 years. Well, not back. I moved to DC for like 9 years, and then 3 years ago I moved to Brooklyn. Yeah, man. It's been 3 years. Damn. A lot has happened in the last 3 years. New York moves so fast. I love it. I was born there. I feel like I'm where I'm supposed to be right now.
In your bag.
Yes. I'm in my bag. I'm working. Like, whew. There's a lot of stuff I've been like cutting out of my life, and I just focus on, does it have to do with me making music? Does it have to do with me making money? Or does it have to do with me feeling at peace or happy or laughter, whatever it is? If it's not any of those three, I'm not chasing it right now, you know? I've been really focused and like dialed in. You know, I feel like I got to put the pedal to the metal and keep it going. Like, especially with what happened with Kobe recently, I've been really inspired by the Mamba mentality, you know? Like, knowing how urgent we have to be with our work, because you never know what day will be your day, you know? So it gave me a lot of urgency. So shout outs to Kobe Bryant and his legacy, you know?
Big facts, bro. For sure.
Rest in peace. And to his daughter too. That's such a tragedy, yeah.
Man, so we had like basically we were running like a series. Obviously it's Black History Month, right? So we do a lot of things that are emphasizing on us and our blackness, and you know, first we talked about, you know, what does that even mean, blackness, and you know, and then I don't want to, I guess by the time this comes out, I could say what we were talking about next was, you know, with Neb and with Helen, we, you know, had like a story on Black love, and you know, I think that with you, something that, I mean, we've already talking about it, is just like Black creation, you know what I'm saying? And like, especially with what you're talking about, which is really tapping into your culture, which is like, tapping into your roots, and what's that? How is that experience? Because I don't. Were you always trying to tap into your roots, or how has that transformation been for you from where you started? You know what I'm saying? What's your creative journey? You know what I'm saying? How's that been?
So for me, my heritage has always been like at the forefront of my identity, like more so than anything. It's always been the source of my pride and my confidence,
Mm.
And so musically, I was always inspired to try to learn how to do it, but I wasn't equipped. I didn't have the skills because like a lot of our skills are very different from like, especially tapping into our musical roots of Ethiopia. It's hard if you're singing like regular R&B to try to do those runs because you've never taken those turns with your voice like that before,
Yeah.
So I've always wanted to tap into my roots, but specifically like my heart has always been super tapped into my roots. Like even before I went to school, my mom's used to stop me. Sometimes I would miss the bus because she would make me recite after her. I'm proud, I'm black, I'm Ethiopian, and that's like she would just do these affirmations every day. These affirmations made me always feel like, yo, nobody could talk down to me just because they thought I was black. Like, no, I was never colonized, baby. You know what I mean? Like, it's like a source of our heritage and our country. It was a lot of source of my pride. So I always wanted to make an ode to that, specific, even with my name and with all, not necessarily musically, but some of the themes and stuff that I'm talking about. And the way that the music is presented, and like the lips that I was wearing in the cover of Dangerous. I always want to, because I feel like we come from royalty, Yeah. And I really feel like we should, after all the media depictions of black people over the last couple of years, we got to remember we are kings, and kings and queens.
Yeah.
So I think that image should be at the forefront as well,
Yeah, big facts.
It don't got to be in a cheesy way, but just remember where you come from.
Yeah.
No, that's powerful because there is a lot of pride and power within our culture and just our roots in general. Like you said, we come from kings and queens. So to be able to display that to the world shows even a greater side of the culture, right? That they might not even be familiar with, but it opens their minds and like their interests. It'll pique it, to like want to find out like what's going on. Tell me, and that's the dope thing within your music is like they get a good feel for it because they can feel it through the music. And because I've, he put me on to you a while back, and I've been listening, and I'm like, man, I could feel it, I could hear it in the music, you know what I'm saying? Even like the image you said on the Dangerous, that shit was fire.
Thank you, bro.
Super fire.
Yeah, man. And actually, my brother is the one who inspired me to dress as kings, and that lips, and he wears it every day. I usually do it for me before I perform. I wear the lips because I feel like I'm putting on my armor. You know what I mean? That's what it'll make me feel. It makes me like step into my purpose and my role, And he wears it every day, and it's crazy, man. Like everywhere you go in New York, everybody knows Simba. It's crazy. They spot him because like his clothes shine everywhere he goes.
Yeah,
he just be drippy.
Not a stain on the white.
Knows, everybody. I could go anywhere. I could be in fucking Germany. I'm like, oh, Simba. I was in Atlanta. Some dude walked up to me at Starbucks. Oh, I've seen you with Simba. You Simba's brother. I was like, yeah, I was like, that's lit.
Yeah.
Everybody knows him, So, and the way his style is fresh. So, and it inspired me. We're brothers. So, especially when we perform together, we both wear the all white. But it's funny, speaking of like your roots and like my inspiration, there was times where, because growing up in New York and New Jersey wasn't many Ethiopians, so sometimes, you're young, you tell people Ethiopian, they were like, oh, Starving Marvin type, them type jokes.
Oh, we got
like,
that shit down here too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they also didn't really know anything about Ethiopians. And so people was trying to clown you because, I would come, when I was a kid, I wasn't really that popular. I wasn't that cool.
Yeah.
Before I realized I could beatbox and I was like entertaining, and you know what I'm saying, and got a personality. Niggas used to pick on me because I smelled like Shunkurt. Oh, stinky, you're stinky. I used to get into so many fights. That's when I started getting in a lot of trouble.
Yeah.
Because, I would come out the crib smelling like Shunkurt, bro. Like on a thou wow.
Yeah.
That should be coming out my pores.
Yeah.
But so if there was any doubt in me being super proud of my culture at that time, it was really Jamaicans, because the big Caribbean population that really reinforced my Ethiopian pride.
Yeah.
Because everywhere I would go, and I told people I was Ethiopian because I had mad friends that were Jamaican at the time, and I'd go to the house and I'd tell them Ethiopian, and they would embrace me with such a warmth. Yeah, I was like, damn, we're like cousins, you know, like the sister countries, you know.
Yeah.
And they would tell me about the history, Selassie, and then I would look into Bob Marley and the font that he would be using on his some of his album covers inspired by Ethiopia, you know.
Yeah.
All the reggae lineage is all paying homage to Ethiopia.
Yeah.
And so at that time it was actually Jamaicans that helped reinforce me to want to research and look at the musical lineage, if not the spiritual lineage between Ethiopia and Jamaica. Yeah. So I'll always have big respect and love for Jamaicans. Jamaica and the output, how they've changed the world with their sound and culture so many different times. And that's why I like the way that Rastas and Caribbeans talk about Ethiopia. For me, it's like this is my ode to them by like embracing Jamaican sounds, you know? And, you know, yeah. So that's why I infuse that in my music.
That makes a lot of sense, bro. In a way, that's you. Even though there weren't necessarily as many Abishas out there, that I feel like is way more welcoming than what we had down here in the South, especially down here in Texas. You know what I'm saying? We're just like very clean cut, like black, white, Mexican. Yeah. And then like, you know, it's like these super simple boxes that are not, you know, they say Chinese, they're not all Chinese, but you know what I mean? And then it's like Indian, but they're not all Indian. It's like those are like the very clear cut, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like your black, white,
that's
Chinese.
True. New York people are exposed to everything mostly. Yeah. A lot of everything.
It's a lot of like, it's like my first experience in New York was I went out there, we had a family reunion and a wedding. And it was like fully catered and stuff. And the catering company, you know, I was young, but like they had some baddies and they were white, or what I thought was white, right? I'm from Texas, so I see a blonde, blue eyes, white. I see a a fit looking John with the red hair. You still white, but you know, bro, if them Jones didn't start talking and like they accents was off the wall, I was like, yo, what is this? Where these people come from? You know what I'm saying? I could have sworn you was just, not just, but I thought you was white. You know what I'm saying?
I thought y'all only spoke English.
Yeah. And so it was like, wow, like New York is the melting pot of the melting pot. Yeah. And then to have that, you know, even when I moved to New York, it was just like you said, it was my Jamaican family out there that embraced me. You know what I'm saying? You know, shout out to the Rutty family. You know, those are as close to me as anyone else. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And they found out, you know, we just hit them up when I was moving out there on some like, hey, I'm going to be in the area. And I didn't even have a choice. It was like, okay, so you're staying at one of our houses, you're moving in, blah, blah, blah. You know what I'm saying? Through the connection of like, you know, the church and everything. And them knowing my dad, it was just like love on site. It was family. It was like them telling me about my pops and about my own history and everything, you know. They brought me back closer to the church. I was raised in the church. You know what I'm saying? And coming out of college, and I was drifting away. You know what I'm saying? And it was them who brought me back. It was like, yo, like, don't forget.
Wow.
You know? And just like embolden the spirit back in me again. So that is a beautiful thing about New York for sure.
Yeah, man. For sure. Big up all Caribbean, Jamaican, massive. Ethiopia loves you. The whole Habesha community, we love and respect y'all. Thank you for helping me find my way back to my culture and reminding me to be proud of where we come from.
Yeah, big facts.
Yeah, it's really dope too, because now you kind of see it in this generation. Being African is somewhat kind of cool now.
Yeah, Wakanda fever is a thing.
Yeah,
they love this Wakanda.
I love it, man. I thought that movie was so powerful. Mm-hmm. Just for what we was talking about before, the connection of the diaspora, you know.
Exactly.
It was so powerful for what it represented, more so than just a superhero movie, you know.
Yeah, it brought everybody, like, I feel like just the imagery, the imagery of kings, you know what I'm saying? The imagery of like power, like real black power. Like, and if you think about it, Wakanda was more powerful than any other entity on the planet. It's just that nobody knew it.
Yeah.
And that to me, that symbolized so much of
the reserve of it all. Yeah.
Yeah, like what's really going on.
It's really Africa if you think about it, right?
Yeah, exactly.
It's the richest continent, at least resources, right?
Yeah.
So that's kind of like an underlined hidden message within the movie.
Yeah, vibranium.
Yeah.
You can say vibranium is any of the many of resources.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? The magnesium, the this, the that. Like, you can't make these iPhones without the stuff that they're getting out of Congo. You know what I'm saying? You can't do anything without the oil and the gold and all the stuff that's coming from that side of the world, you know? And to me, that was just like, it was a way to subconsciously and subliminally like feed that to the public and be like, I mean, it was in your face, but like the deeper message of it was very much so like you're like spoon feeding it to the people, like, yo, there's some more to this than, you know, what we've been telling y'all in the past. And then, you know, having a black man direct it, obviously black people starring in it. I mean, the whole cast, other than the CIA operative, is like, and the villain, the majority of them, you know, black. You know, it was super empowering, and I thought that was just like, just the beginning. It was just opening the door to like people to, because here's the thing, and you know, it's funny who else says this is Burna Boy. He talks about this a lot, which is like, you know, his whole emphasis is like getting, you know, black people to realize like, hey, I understand you're black, and I understand you're proud of your black heritage and your, you know, what you have, especially in America is what we're talking about. But he's like, don't forget that you come from Africa.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
Like, you know, I think, and I had this argument with a friend of mine all the time, because, you know, she's always talking about like this pride that, you know, and you know, I just can't relate. You know, yo, people weren't slaves. You know, we came out of nothing, bro. And I'm like, yo, I'm not trying to take away nothing from none of that at all. But at the end of the day, their lineage traced back somewhere too. And you know, if you don't find the root, you're gonna be lost at the, like, that's just, I honestly believe that if you're not tracing everything back to the root of where it all starts, then you're kind of just, it's like, you know, the Big Bang Theory. It's like, all right, cool, you can say that, but you're not helping me out by telling me this thing just poof and just appeared. You know what I'm saying? Like,
it's that detachment almost.
Yeah,
you know?
It's like you're
at the same time, bro, think about it. Like, yeah, if somebody wanted to trace their roots, think about how deep the disenfranchisement and the evilness of what was done to black people in America. Like,
yeah,
say you want to go back to Africa. Say there's a place that maybe a country that doesn't speak English that you want to live. How are you gonna operate? You know what I mean? Like, you want to go back, but I feel like there should be, and maybe I just haven't done my research, but like real ways where people can make their way and interact with the economies of their whatever they trace their lineage to in Africa, you know. But I don't think it's that as easy as just like, yeah, we gotta, even though that is the sentiment, but it's hard for a lot of people, you know.
I agree.
Big facts. Yeah. I mean, I hope I'm not making it seem like it's easy. Obviously, we're privileged with the fact that we're so close to our heritage, right? Yeah. Obviously,
it's a big privilege, man.
Super privilege, you know. And I think that has to be a two-way street. I feel like that's why Ghana is like ahead of everybody, because they unlocked the code early. They were like, yo, we need to just invite everybody back. We need to give them citizenships. We need to help them help us. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Grant them, you know, the ability to invest and buy property, even make it easier if we have to. You know what I'm saying? And obviously, relative to America, it's easier to do that in the countries that speak English. You know what I'm saying? Not every African nation speaks English. You know, there's a lot of them that speak French. You know, in the case of Ethiopia, they're speaking all the Ethiopian languages. You know what I'm saying? It's like, you know, that there is a lot of difficulty there, obviously, and you're right. And but at the end of the day, it really doesn't. As long as it starts, if the process starts, obviously you and I may not see the end result, but it only takes a couple generations to flip this whole thing upside down. Yeah. I honestly believe that. Really, it takes 1 to 2 generations, because if everybody go back, even if they don't understand shit, if their kids are born there, they're going to be raised in the shit. Yeah. They're going to get it. Man, you know what I'm saying?
But we live in the age of influencers and influence. So the more I feel like you see certain people going back and start to do it, because essentially, like you said, these countries are inviting everybody to come back, and they're enticing you with opportunities to invest. And us being a capitalist country, we usually have that kind of mindset too. Like, oh, I can go up there and I can further this opportunity that I've always wanted to, and this place is presenting it. And then in this meantime, I can get in touch with my roots, whatever they got set up over there. It kind of brings you back. But if you start seeing, like, for instance, like Ludacris, he went back, right? Mm-hmm. He got a citizenship. You start seeing these different type of people, and they kind of encourage you. Akon, all these people who start encouraging you to come back. Yeah. You know, even with the diaspora in Ethiopia, the whole homecoming, it's all these different things that bring people back. I feel like with our generation, when you throw these type of events, where like young people, because nowadays people travel, that the whole world is connected through our phones, social media, and through that outlet, people are able to see all these things that are going on in different places. So they're immediately, the perception of what Africa might have been in their minds, of it being this third world country that don't have the certain amenities that they think that they only have here in America, it changes, right? Because now they see you post it, they see you post it, they see me post it, whatever. They're like, wow, this shit looks like DC, man. This shit look like New York, bro. Like, this is crazy. And so now I think that just like draws people to want to go back, because even if it's a vacation, it's a trip. I've talked to so many friends who've had the opportunity to go back to Africa. Not even that, and these are just I guess African Americans per se, right? Black people in America going back, being able to explore a city or an environment, and immediately they're like, they can feel the connection just because they look around. Even if they don't understand what's going on, they're not familiar with the culture. It's just the fact of being able to be surrounded by people that look like you and that also are welcoming. There's no no negativity really coming their way. So it's very inviting and positive. So it's really re-inviting. It's almost like you can kind of feel it, right? You know, it's like something in your gut, like you can feel the vibes in it, essentially.
Yeah, that's a big thing. That's a big thing that I talk about, or how I feel, because, you know, with us, you know, you go back to Ethiopia and you're like, oh man, all these people look like me. The food is what I'm used to. The smell is what I'm used to. The mannerisms, you know what I'm saying? It's like, damn, like this thing that I used to only get in my house or in my church. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? It's literally everywhere. And that's a little different than, as you mentioned, like someone who doesn't really know exactly where they're from. Yeah. But and of course I could be ignorant with this, you know, like, because I don't know. But I just feel like when you go out there and really, I don't know if it matters as much where you go as much as it is like going to Africa, being in a nation that's all black, being in a space where, because there's things that black people are old. It's, you know how when you walk into a room and you see another Abishai person, there's like already this inherent connection. You could have never met them in your life, right? And then we have that same thing with black people. Amongst black people, you walk into a room, especially if like it's only like us two. Get that head nod. You already know what it is. You know what I'm saying?
What's good?
There's that connection. So then you apply that when you go into a country, like, obviously, I mean, even when we go to Ethiopia, we're the Americans in Ethiopia. We're the diaspora. We're the, you know what I'm saying? Like, but we're still like, so long as there's a respect that's put out. In our case, a lot of that respect is translated by using the language, or an attempt to use the language. If you even try to speak Amharic in Ethiopia, the people will instantly fall in love with you. Like, instantly, they'll do anything for you. Like, you know what I'm saying? Yo, Amharic could be broken. Yeah. They may laugh a little bit or giggle or whatever, but it's like, yo, they're going to encourage it. They're going to help you. They're going to try to speak English back to you. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? It's like that's there. So if I just feel like black people, it's in us to like love. Like, I feel like that's like in our spirit. That communal thing is like in our spirit. So if you go back there and the energy is of, I'm trying to like trace my roots, and it's not this, I'm American, so I'm, you know, entitled to some shit, or I'm this or I'm that. I feel like it's not easy, but it's something that, you know, there's a lot to gain from, and it's necessary. You feel what I'm saying? And generationally, it will advance us as a people. If not even just living there, just going there. Like my main thing was when I went to Ethiopia the first time, I came back and not even actually before I came back, while I was there, I really was like, I can live here. Like I can live here. I do not have to reside in the United States of America. Like it's quite possible for me to spend the majority, if not the rest of my life out here.
Yeah.
And so I feel like every person, I mean, we're talking about black people, but it's really to anybody. Nobody from America is American. Like, or I mean, like 6 generations back, your people were somewhere else. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I feel like this applies to everyone. But for us, considering that the majority of black people here had whatever their heritage was ripped away, like they really don't know. It's not like they can pinpoint it, right? Unless you come from immigrants, which I actually believe there's a higher percentage of the black population in America that comes from immigrants than we give credit for. Because I feel like this may be, I don't know, this is just my opinion, but when we talk about, you know, how many black people are in America, and then I don't know that there's not a healthy percentage that have descent from some sort of immigrants. They may not be first generation like us. They could be second generation or third generation, like people who came to this country, not necessarily.
You're talking about differentiating them between transatlantic, slave trade?
Exactly. Okay. You know what I'm saying? But even that, it's like, you know, I feel like how do I say this without sounding like an asshole? I feel like we've, you know, black people have fought for so much in America that like you want to be American. You know what I'm saying? Versus like fighting so much for America and then actually coming to realize like I don't need this shit. You know what I'm saying? Mm. And, you know, obviously that comes from a privileged place of knowing where to get the hell up out of here from if you need to, you know what I'm saying? But yeah. I don't think it's like one of those things you don't know till you try, and so that's why it's like you may go over there and realize, hey, you know what, fuck this, I'd rather be in America. But hey, at least you took a swing, you know what I'm saying, and then you realize it. But I think a lot of people will go and then realize like, wow, like I could really be out here.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Does that make any sense? Or am I just rambling?
No. I'm actually just thinking. Maybe it's just because I'm smacked, but thinking the flip. Like think about it, like. Our parents, especially when shit was going down in Ethiopia around whatever exact time it was, a lot of them just up and went and had to do the verse and be like, I'm going to have to live in another country.
Yeah.
And they was just young as we are.
Yep.
A brand new place where they may not have spoken the language, didn't have no family, no support system.
That's why it's hard for me to be like, oh yeah, they can't do it. Motherfuckers, our parents did that shit. What are you saying?
There's people doing America every day.
Yeah, we taking in 100,000 immigrants every year.
Really,
that's
all
the
over
one
the
that's
world.
Documented.
All over the world, people immigrate.
People up in root. So it's hard for me to be like, oh no, black people can't do that.
That's why
yes,
I'm saying
the fuck you can.
They'll go for opportunity. If the opportunity presents itself and there's a chance where you can better your life, I think anybody would take that.
So how do you think we can help? How do you think any of us can use our spheres of influence to help fucking build that bridge for people here to be able to be connected back home more? Or how do you think I as a musician could?
I mean, I think that obviously we, all three of us, represent a particular country, right? Or particular area. Yeah. But I think the more people that are just taking that opportunity to go back, and because of social media, because of things like that, sharing our stories, sharing our experiences, and kind of first you have to break down the stigma that Africa is like this, you know, fucking safari or whatever people believe it is. You know what I'm saying? Like that there is something there. And then you have to realize, I feel like you got to give like the big thing is the opportunity thing, right? It's not just like, oh, this getaway where you can go and then come back. We're talking about the Industrial Revolution. Yeah. Like that's the times that they're in over there. It's like we're talking about you could come here, you could earn your money and build a house, or you can go to Ethiopia and build a building. Yeah. What you want to do? You feel what I'm saying? You want to talk about generational wealth? You can go out there and create that. You feel me? And then when you're talking about all these other countries and what they're willing to do to invite, you know, Americans or just, you know, wherever the diaspora is out at, when they come back, giving them opportunities to, you know, invest and do things within the country, gain citizenship, which means you can vote. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like have a real impact on the growth there. Like bro, it was a major brain drain. You know, like what we're talking about with our parents, right?
Yeah.
I'm talking about Civil War. We're not talking about slavery, right? Which is, which started, hundreds of years ago, and obviously it just barely, like, it barely ended in the larger context of time. We're talking about like 100 years max, that, and then less really when you think about Jim Crow and all this other shit, right? So that, like, our parents just got here. My parents got here the top of the 80s, right? So in the larger scheme of things, reversing that brain drain, all those people left because of Civil War. How many other people can you say that? A bunch.
Yeah.
A lot of, how many, forget just being Ethiopian. I got friends that are Nigerian who are themselves are immigrants, or their parents were immigrants, or they both came at the same time together because they were born over there, you know what I'm saying? And you could say that about the other 50, well, I mentioned 2 countries, so the other 52 countries out there, right?
Hell, all over the world.
All over the world. People are just making their way over here, and they have some circumstance leading them to believe that they should leave where they're at, and that there's the opportunity to prosper here. But in the last 20 years, the world has gotten very small. Once you attain that blue passport, you have the ability to get in and out of this motherfucker, so long as you're not doing dumbass shit. You know what I'm saying? So, like, use the privilege that we have and go over there, see what's there for you. That's my only thing. Is like,
you said it. You said it earlier. It's land of opportunity is America. Yeah. That's why people came here. That's why people fled to America in the droves in the early days up until our parents coming out here. They flew out here because of the opportunity. America presented itself as the land of hope, the land of beginning. You can create, you can plant a seed and you can watch it grow and prosper. But now, like you're saying, Africa, you can take the fruits of your labor that you've been able to acquire here, and then you can go ahead and reap them over there, because there's so much opportunities. You can plant seeds over there. You can really set the roots and ground over there. So all that shit is there, man. They just got to take that same concept that America kind of used to market itself. America's great at marketing. Oh, yeah. You take that kind of concept and you put it within your own economy. Look at all these other Europeans. Why do other people go to different countries in Europe?
Yeah,
it's because of the opportunities. If you can have business, if people can actually make some money, that's when people gonna move. Yeah. You tell me I can make some money somewhere. Yeah, you gonna get my interest.
Or I could just live prosperously.
Yeah.
Imagine, bro, like
imagine
this
on a larger scale.
On a larger scale, like, imagine setting up some investments here, property, right? I'm gonna give you a playbook that I've noticed just from people I know. All right, you get some property out here. It don't even have to be nothing crazy. It could be a condo. Buy that junk. You've made some money, done good for yourself, got your credit score up, so boom, you got your condo. You pay $100,000, $200,000, depending on where you're at in America, $300,000, $400,000, $500,000, whatever it is. You got that junk on a mortgage, right? Boom. So you link up with some management company. This is just one avenue. You link up with some sort of management company. Boom, they're managing your property. You out of here. That property is bringing you residual income. You go live in a place like Ethiopia. Well, guess what? Your dollar spreads a lot longer in Ethiopia, right? So now you've got already a setup. This doesn't even include what you're doing to continue to make money. But you've got a setup now where you have a property that's appreciating in America, that's being paid off on its own, and is paying you out a royalty that you can utilize to build in Ethiopia. So if you just take the time out to strategically plan, right? It's not like it's the great escape, right? You're just going to go over there, and which is possible. I actually know a lot of people who just say, fuck it. They leave it. They leave this place. Credit's all fucked up. Nobody cares. I'm out of here. And then, but what they do is they take their mind out there. They take the hustle out there. You know what I'm saying? The American capitalist mentality out there, and maybe some materials, something that they can use, that they can provide. They can become a resource. You know what I'm saying? A product or a service. At the end of the day, these places are thirsty, like, for this. You know what I'm saying? Like, everything that, like, products and resources and products and services are necessary for development. So as long as you have something to provide, you will be fine. The problem out there, for the most part is a lack of education for a lot of people, or a lack of opportunity for a lot of people. And so you combine those together, you don't know what to provide. You don't have, that's how you get a bunch of, people who got a engineering degree from a Ethiopian university who shine in shoes, right? Because there's not a lot of opportunity. But who's going to provide the opportunity? It's going to be the person who dares to do that, the person who has the capital to do that. Where are these people going to come from? Right the fuck here, or somewhere in Europe. You know what I'm saying? Somewhere else. And the thing is, it's going to happen regardless. But do we want it to be some foreign investors? Right? Africa is going to prosper, guys. It's happening. Like the world is too woke for Africa to continue to have, and I'm speaking holistically as Africa, because the whole fucking continent has been getting like ripped apart, raped and pillaged, like literally, right? So that turnaround is coming, but who's gonna own it? Is it gonna be Dubai and America and China, and you know what I'm saying, or is it gonna be the diaspora, all the people who got the fuck up out of there and now need to find a way back, whether they were taken out of there, or they left out of there, or they're a generation removed from parents who left out of there. At the end of the day, like, it's an opportunity, and it's really a small window of time we're talking about, bro. It really is. I'm telling you, it's a generation or two. That's it. After that, it's written. Africa is the next America, bro. Straight up, as a continent. So what we gonna do? You feel me? That's why I be like so passionate about it. It's like, it's hard for me to hear. Like, I mean, I don't want to be like apathetic. I don't want to act like I don't have sympathy, or that I can't empathize with people. Like, man, I don't know anybody. I get that. But then I just, like you said, you take a step back and then you realize, shit, my dad didn't know anybody when he got here. My dad came in with a briefcase at best, couple $100. And a sponsor, Mr. David, I think his name was. Straight up.
Wow.
I don't remember his name. I just made that one up.
But he had a sponsor. He had a sponsor
for school. For school. For school. Wow. Back when tuition was $500 for a year. You feel me?
Damn.
And ran it up. My mom came here on asylum. She just became a citizen right before Trump took office because she's smart. Wow. You know what I'm saying? She been here 30-something years. Green card. Just got citizenship, like 2015 or some shit. You feel me? Been making it, right? But came here with nothing. You know what I'm saying? But because they are, I mean, let's be honest, a lot of the families that made it out, I'm not gonna say all, but a lot, this is how we start going back and realizing all our folks know each other, or we somehow related, because we come from the aristocratic families. You know what I'm saying? The families that was tied to the old regime in some way, or they knew somebody, or they were in the military, or they were well educated. Yeah. Both my mom and my dad's side had ties to previous monarchies. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, that's why they got the fuck up out of there, because when the government started going upside down, you were the first people that were targeted. Anybody with money or education, when they were the power of the tiller, right? They were trying to flip everything upside down. Your ass was the one who needed to get the fuck up out of there, right? Yeah. Right? I mean, I can only speak about Ethiopia. I can't speak on the rest of the continent. But if that's our story, imagine everybody else's story.
Everybody got some interesting stories.
Yeah, and that's the brain drain. So if that's what can we do, bro? The population of Ethiopia is 50% is under the age of 18. 60 something, 70% under the age of 35. This is a baby ass country, bro. Baby as in young.
Yeah, young people.
Young people. Ain't enough jobs. So what the fuck's gonna happen? We want another war? Or do we want to go over there and supply the and not to say that there's not already. There's fintech companies that are out there. There's, financial technology, for people who don't know what fintech is. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of different things that are bubbling out there. And that may very well be it too. We may just be asked out. And it's like, all right, cool. They do it on their own. God bless them. I hope and I pray that that's what happens, right? But I'd be damned, because the thing about currency, when the thing about treasury, if is that it's got to come from somewhere. That's what people don't get. Like, they're not just going to create currency out of nowhere. Then you get inflation and then it's not worth anything, right? So you got to have at the end of the day, there's got to be investment from outside entities, outside sources to bring those resources into the country. So who's going to do it? That's the same question. I'm just keep asking it, bro. Who's going to do it, bro? Is it going to be us? Or is it going to be goddamn Jinping or whoever the fuck the president of China is? You know what I'm saying?
It'll be Mr. Lee and Wang.
I'll be damned, bro.
At this rate, shit, it looks like it is. They look like they winning the race right now. If it was a race versus the diaspora and the Chinese, I think the Chinese are winning right now.
I mean, the Chinese figured it out. They bought America first. And
Yeah, they do.
Huh?
Break it down real quick. Break it down for the listeners who ain't hip.
So I'm gonna get in my financial bag real quick. Flex my licenses. All right, now.
Break it down.
All right, so the way America is financed is through the debt system, right? For people who don't understand that, like, the debt system is basically you have this reserve bank, the Federal Reserve, that literally prints money and then it gives it out to banks and other entities with interest. So automatically creating debt. And the only way that the money grows is by further loaning money out layer by layer, creating higher levels of debt, right? So then here's a great example. And this is how like the whole world economy almost collapsed, right? You go out and you buy a house, let's say Texas, Dallas, average house, $250,000. Nobody's paying $250,000 cash for a house, right? So you go get a mortgage, okay? That mortgage is owned by a bank. That bank is also financing 1 million other people. Well, actually, let's make the number simple. 1,000 other people, okay? So 250,000 times 1,000 is 250 million, okay? So let's say 4,000 to make it a round number. $1 billion worth of debt that they've issued out for 4,000 houses to be built and sold, okay? Do you think that that bank is just holding on to $1 billion worth of debt? Fuck no. They create what we call a bond. So the bank is issued out $1 billion worth of debt at an average rate of, let's say, 5%. They have a bond that is going to yield an average rate of 3.5%.
And what exactly is a bond for them?
Great fucking question. So a bond basically turns regular people into banks, right? So if you buy a bond is sold usually in increments of 1,000 or 10,000 or whatever, right? So you can go out and buy 1 million. Let's say you got money and you want a low risk investment. Just for usually you sell it to older people who just want to see like their money not in cash and not depreciating. So you go out and you buy this bond, and actually, to make the numbers better, the average interest rate on that mortgage is 10%, right? So then the bond is issued at 5%, so the bank is eating money, right? All right, cool. So you as an investor, you go buy $1 million worth of bonds, and it's yielding at 5%. And we're not even going to account the fact that the yield may change if the price of the bond moves, but let's just say it stays par. So that $1 million bond yielding 5% pays out semi-annually, which is twice a year, which means that you're getting $50,000 a year. Bonds are issued at 30-year increments. Is like a full-term bond. So for 30 years, you're going to get $50,000 a year, $25,000 every 6 months for 30 years. And then at the end of the 30 years, you get your money back. That's how a bond works. Okay. So that bank sold $1 billion worth of bonds. Okay. And so they're paying out $50,000 a year per $1 million of bonds. So they're going to pay out $50 million a year to the bondholders. But remember, the average interest rate that they're receiving is 10%. So they're getting $100 million. You see what I'm saying? Paying out $50 million. So the bank is making money either way. And guess what? That's just the interest that they're making. The principal is still being paid off too, which is the amount of the house itself, which was $250,000. So they're going to get the money that they lended out, plus they're going to get interest. And then but they didn't actually house the debt. They didn't hold on to the debt. Why would they do that? So that $1 billion that they just lended out, they got it right back from the bondholders. You see what I'm saying? So the bank has no risk. At the end of the day, The only risk that they're having is that people won't pay off their mortgages. And that's what happened in '07. Because the banks got greedy as fuck. They created these variable rate mortgages, which means, oh yeah, your interest rate is 4% now, and then in 6 years it's going to change to 17%. So
they're manipulating shit to make more debt.
No, it's not to make more debt. It's to say, hey, if you're paying if your mortgage was, let's just say your mortgage was $1,500 in 6 years, unless the value of your house goes up, or unless you pay off your house, your mortgage is going to be $3,000.
Oh wow!
Because the rate is going to change, and the way that the rate is tied to the principal, everything changes, so your money goes up. Naturally, banks were being greedy and lending out free money to everybody, so people were being greedy, being stupid, buying multiple houses, because why not? I can afford it. Until your variable rate interest rate changes, and then you can't afford it, and then there's the trickle down effect, which is what crashed the economy, because the people stopped paying their mortgages, so the banks were not receiving the money, and if the banks can't receive the money, they can't pay off the bonds. And who owns the bonds? The people. You feel what I'm saying? So I say all that to say, the U.S. government funds everything from the Treasury, right? You have the U.S. Treasury. That's the people who write the checks. Well, how do you think they get their money? They issue out U.S. Treasury bonds. These are supposed to be the most secure bonds basically in the world. And they issue it out billions and billions, trillions of dollars at a time, because they got to fund, you know how they talk about annually, oh, the government going to shut down because they got to create a budget, right? All right, so where the fuck do they get this money from? So on the back end is these bonds, right? I gave you an example with houses, but the government gets its money in the same way. China owns all the bonds. So China owns America. China owns like $20 trillion worth of bonds or whatever. They just buy it up. Buy it up. Every time the U.S. government issues out bonds, it's the Chinese who are coming because they got cash, bro.
Hey, when you say the Chinese are buying the bonds, do you mean the government is buying the bonds?
The government.
So it's not just people. It's not people who are entrepreneurs or whatever the fuck trying to make.
Anybody can, but who the fuck has trillions of dollars, bro? Not people. Yeah. It's the government.
So the government is.
They're a fucking communist government still. They're with the mask of capital. I mean, they're like a mixture of communists and capitalists. China. They got this shit figured out, bro. Wow. They're ahead of the game, because the same shit that they did in America, send all the workers and shit, build the railroads. They get cash. Oh, you can't pay us? Don't worry. You'll just owe us. We'll finance it for you. Wow. So then you'll pay us long money. Because in that same example that I gave you earlier, the person who bought that $250,000 house, when they pay their mortgage over 30 years, they've paid almost $1 million in interest, or like total for the house. Wow. You know what I'm saying? $1,800 mortgage for 30 years. You do the math. You feel what I'm saying? So that's the game. It's a
long game.
It's a long game. The debt game is a long game, and it's like never ending, because as long as the Federal Reserve continues to print money, it just inflates, and there's just more and more and more currency out there. And not to mention, who the fuck owns the Federal Reserve? That ain't the U.S. government's private bankers that started that shit. Right? That's just like open history. Yeah. You know, J.P. Morgan, J.D. Rockefeller, the Rothschilds. You know, it was Woodrow Wilson, 1913. You know what I'm saying? They put him in office in order to start the Federal Reserve.
Was that part of the New Deal or not?
No, Woodrow Wilson is before the New Deal.
Yes, before.
They did that, and then they crashed the economy, right? By pulling their money, creating a frenzy, pulling their money out of the market, let the economy crash, and then they bought up the whole market.
Yeah.
You feel what I'm saying?
That's crazy.
So it's just like consistent manipulation. That's why JFK died. JFK was like, yo, we need to end the Federal Reserve. What are we doing? We need to shut down these secret societies, blah, blah, blah. Oh, yeah? Kaboom. Head gone. Bow. I'm not playing with you, dog. This is all our money. What are you doing? Wow. Rothschild said, give me control of the finances, and you can have the politics. Give me the control of the finances, and I run the world. They figured it out early, bro.
He wasn't trying to be a puppet.
Nah.
He's a puppeteer. He got all the bread.
Yeah. We'll buy you. That's fine. Yeah. You feel me? And so that's the same thing that they're doing in Africa. It's like, oh, you can't buy it now. Of course you can't. You ain't got no money. Yeah. So we'll just finance you. We'll take care of this. You pay us back down the line, down the line, down the line, down the line. But the whole time they're getting money because you're still having to pay them. You're still making your monthly payments, paying up your interest at least, if not attacking the principal, right? It's the same concept as a fucking car payment. Same shit. You didn't go pay $25,000, $30,000 cash for your car. The bank bought it and you paid the bank and they gave you an interest rate. So for that $25,000 car, you ended up paying $36,000, $37,000 when you put all the payments together, right? But yeah, because you're not just paying for the car, you're paying for the loan. You feel me? So that's the same thing that they're doing over there. They send their workers, you pay them, and then they say, oh, you can't pay for the metal? We'll send you the metal, right? That's the other thing. They send all their shit resources to Africa.
Wow.
Yeah, you go build a building. I got building boys who are my friends in Ethiopia. You know what building boy is? They our age, building buildings.
Wow.
You feel me? You get 3 options. All right? You get the high quality shit, you get the cheap shit, and then the cheap shit. Ain't no in between. Ain't no like kind of good. It's the high quality shit, right? Which is going to cost you.
Yeah.
Going to cost you. Or it's the cheap shit. Or it's the cheap shit. So most people just go for the cheap shit.
Sounds about right.
Most of the shit is built with the cheap shit.
Yeah.
And that cheap shit is the shit that America doesn't meet standards in America, so it's not getting sent here.
Wow.
They're not using. They may use it in China because they got a billion and a half people, so they got to just keep. They built a hospital in like a week, right?
Yeah,
6 days or some
that.
shit. Easy.
It's crazy.
So they're building the whole. They're gonna build the whole continent with that shit, and the whole continent is gonna owe them. And what are you gonna do when you own all the debt in Africa and all the debt in America? You just call the loan. You say, hey, call the loans. Means, hey, I need my money. Oh, you don't have it? Bet I own this shit now. All the shit that is part of this loan is mine now. Yeah.
Does that include the materials that they use? They say we own this building.
Whatever the fuck was financed, whatever ain't paid off.
They own it.
Railroad tracks, mine. Building, mine. This, mine. That, mine. It's all, the country, basically. Wow. So we put who we want in power now so that we can make sure you pay us back. This is the same game that America plays, except America just does it with war. Like, America's just like, we're just going to blow your ass up, or you can just give us your oil. Which one you want to do?
Well, if you think about it, Trump is like a very anti-China guy.
Yeah.
And
he knows.
It's for that reason, really.
Yeah, because he, contrary to what people believe, I be trying to tell people, the motherfucker is smart, bro.
Yeah, for sure.
He's just an asshole.
Yeah.
At the end of the day. But he's at a mile because he's a numbers guy. He understands. If anybody understands debt, actually, it's Donald fucking Trump. He understands debt better than everybody because that's all he does. Bro, what? He's never paid for any fucking thing. Everything he's built has been built with debt. And then you get that residual income I'm talking about, just like I told you to do, right?
Yeah.
Go buy the fucking condo. You ain't finna put up the $200,000 for the condo. You may put up 20% max, 40 bands. Or you can get all the way down to 3% if it's your first property. Put that up, put the rest on a mortgage. You may, all right, cool, you owe $1,400, $1,500 a month. But you rent that shit out for $2,500. Now you got a band in your pocket every month. Yeah. You're in Ethiopia. Chilling. Hello, you feel me? We have the options, bro. Utilize and then you could do so much with free time and free mental space to go build out there and to go think. You know what I'm saying? To just be out there and be like, all right, cool. What are the needs of the what are the needs of the land? You know what I'm saying? It's so much more than just going out there and partying. Of course, you come to my page. I'm showing the parties in this because I gotta lure you out there. I gotta get you out there. You're not gonna go out there if I tell you, oh, we're going to go learn it. We're gonna go. I want to teach you everything else about the country. No, I'm gonna, hey, come turn up with us in your home country. But then when you get there, you're like, whoa, there's a lot out here. I can be out here. Matter of fact, there's a lot out here, and then there's a lot missing out here, which brings opportunity. You feel me?
Oh, yeah.
If we go back and start building.
Come get into the mic for me.
If we go back and start building all the new, drippy, dope shit, right?
Yeah.
Are we just becoming gentrifiers of Ethiopia?
No. What do you mean by that? How are we gentrifying Ethiopia?
I mean, if we're changing the landscape and making everything brand spanking new, building up all these apartment buildings, replacing
that shit is happening shops. Either way, big dog.
Yeah.
The question is, what are you gonna do?
I'm playing devil's advocate.
Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah. But what are you gonna do with the money you get from it?
Yeah,
that's the thing. Like, what? At the end of the day, this is my thing. Even with gentrification, we could bring that shit back to America for a second, right? We talk about gentrification and like it's a bad thing. Like
it's happening everywhere.
What happens is that the people are getting displaced. That's what makes it bad. It's not that there's advancement that makes it bad. Yeah. It's the fact that people had been there for forever and then they're getting replaced or getting moved out and then they don't know where the fuck to go, right? Mm-hmm. But in the grand scheme of things, when you're talking about the long-term goal of the area, the investment of the area, there has to be something that raises the value of that area so that they can get the tax revenue, they can do this, that, and the other to keep building. Like, it has to move up. Mm-hmm. So either the people who are there have got to pay for it themselves, right? They got to, invest in their own space, create a collective. I don't know how the fuck you're going to do it. Or, like, are we being gentrifiers? I don't know. Are we giving those people who've lived their opportunity to stay there? Are we building something that if we're not at least doing that, we're creating a space for where we know people are going? I mean, this has to be a thought out thing. Yeah. Trust me, I hear what you're saying, bro. Like, are we being? I mean, fucking Dubai is putting $1.4 billion property and smacking Addis right now.
Really?
Nigga, what? It's like they're like building their own city. I know people who are selling the properties.
It's crazy.
It's happening. It's happening already. Like, because it's necessary. It has to. And, you get on Twitter and Facebook and you hear these conversations and people get, what is this?
Ethiopia is getting so westernized. Everything is changing.
It's like, what the fuck do you want for Ethiopia? Do you want Ethiopia to grow? Do you want Ethiopia to prosper? You know what I'm saying? Like, the Ethiopia our parents left was actually better than Ethiopia now. Pre-Civil War. What? Have you seen the pictures and the videos and the imagery? Like, there was a lot of social problems. Obviously, there was problems in the trenches. But if you want to talk about the economy as a whole.
The identity, too.
The identity, right? Like, with Ethiopia, we know ain't even the Ethiopia of Ethiopia that Ethiopia is right now. We know the Ethiopia of the 70s and 80s because that's what our parents tell us about. You know what I'm saying? Until our generation is going back there, you don't even know Ethiopia, bro. The Ethiopia is a dated version of Ethiopia. I have to tell my parents that. I have to tell my dad, bro, you don't know Ethiopia. The closest thing you know to Ethiopia is these fucking YouTube channels and shit you be watching.
Zahabasha and all those East Side and all that.
Nah, the fucking dramas and shit. You know what I'm saying?
My parents be watching that every day.
My pops hit me, I was out there, he came back and it was like some slang, you know what I'm saying? Like, much, you know what I'm saying? Like, they weren't saying that when my dad
that's definitely some new, cool, young.
He hit me with it. He was like, I learned something. You much. Yeah. I was like, that's what.
I don't even know.
I mean, it's like equivalent of like good looks.
Yeah. Appreciate
good looks.
You.
Like,
yeah.
good looking out. That's literally, I think the best equivalent is good looking out, good looks.
You much.
You know
I guess in the way it's used, but I think it literally means like you're comfortable, right? Or like.
Yeah. The literal translation, it's slang, is my point. It's slang.
Yeah, I heard a lot of it.
And then the other one is jealousy.
Yeah.
They call people jealousy. Like, I guess it's used like my nigga or something.
Yeah.
It's like,
no, jealousy is literally the translation of like to my nigga.
Yeah.
I don't know where it came from.
Jealousy.
But I
did hear that.
That's my point. It's like the country at the end of the day is changing. There is no getting away from that. So the only thing we can do is go back and try to maintain whatever heritage, whatever culture we can while being a part of that advancement.
Yeah.
That's my point. It's
do it sustainably and try to interact with the existing communities and don't try to displace nobody.
We're the only ones who are gonna give a fuck enough.
Yeah. Because if we displacing people, we know different than motherfuckers gentrifying cities.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
If we're not maintaining the heritage, we're no different.
Yeah.
You feel what I'm saying? You know? So that's my 2 cents on it, bro. And that's, you know, that's why I asked you the question earlier about, you know, we brought up, you know, like we're going through phases of this, but through creation, through the arts, you know what I'm saying? Like that's a big piece, you know. Back in, I watch these like Ethiopics and like these different things on like YouTube or Netflix, you know. It's like, it trips me out when I see like, but they were swing dancing and listening to jazz, and like it was like a different ball game. And this is 40 years ago in Ethiopia. Shit, this is 2020, 50 years ago in Ethiopia. And they was already like, that's why it's kind of hard for me to hear this whole like, oh, we're westernizing the blah, 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 blah. It's like, they were on that 50 years ago. They was in the skirts and the flower and the, you know what I'm saying? What you call bell bottoms?
Yeah.
What are we talking about?
We're wearing bell bottoms.
Froed out, swing dance. They was doing all that shit. So what are we really talking about? Like, I feel like people just like to fucking complain, bro.
No, that's a fact.
You know what I'm saying? But ain't nobody really trying to do nothing. And I can't stand for our generation being like our parents' generation, who was definitely in that bag. They got the fuck up out of there, and they're like, I'm not going back, but I'm going to complain from here. I'm
there's a lot of those.
You know what I'm saying? It's like, nah, man, I'm not trying to hear you, bro. You know, I'm not trying to hear that shit. If you ain't trying to go back there and do something about it, STFU. Shut the fuck up. Real shit.
Yeah.
You know? And then and the same thing, if you there and you not doing nothing active and you just like complaining, same shit applies to you too. But the crazy part about it is that people there is active. You get out there in Ethiopia and you realize like people just moving and shaking, like people trying to get it in. You feel me? So it's actually really tight.
Speaking,
go ahead. No, I was about to say, I'm about to get off my soapbox. So
you're not on no soapbox, bro. But speaking of people bridging the gap and going back and interacting with the existing communities, you just mentioned something to me earlier offline. You was talking about the origin card.
Yeah.
Could you tell me a little bit more about that? I feel like people should know. I never heard about that.
You don't know about the orange card?
I never the origin card that you
gotcha,
said.
Gotcha. So the origin card, also known as the yellow card, right, is in a way, it's the equivalent of like a green card in America, a residency card. The difference is that you have to come from Ethiopian origin or lineage to receive it, to get it, right?
How do you prove that? Just through your parents' documentation?
You got documentation, right? And so, like in my case, I had my mom's like passport and shit. So technically, I believe the way it's supposed to work technically is your folks gotta get their order. So either your parents are still Ethiopian citizens, which then is super easy, right? Boom, I'm an Ethiopian, that's my son, boom, you're in, done, right? But if your parents had given up their citizenship, let's say for citizenship in another country, then they would have to prove their lineage, which still isn't that hard, right? I mean, you can get the docs out there either way, really. But the point is that as long as they can prove their lineage, you have a birth certificate that says that's my mama or that's my daddy, then you prove your link, boom, you're in. You pay the $200 USD, answer a couple questions, take a picture, boom, you're done.
Yeah.
You know, like it's actually really, it's a really simple process. I was in and out of the immigration building in an hour, right? The longest part is the line, but once you get to the counter, boom, it's real simple. Hey, show me your stuff. Okay, boom. You hand them a passport photo, just like here. You know what I'm saying? You have to take it outside of the place and just bring it in, hand it to them. They, you know, give you the bills. Like it was like 5,800 or whatever when I was there. It's whatever the bank rate is for $200, right? And then you pay it, and then at that point, that's the last time you'll ever have to pay something. US dollar terms ever again, because then you're Ethiopian.
Wow.
You see what I'm saying? Like even as Ethiopian diaspora, when you land there and you have an American passport, you're not Ethiopian. See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But even with an American passport and an origin card, you are Ethiopian. So
I need to get that ASAP.
ASAP. I feel like that's why I tell everybody, your first trip or back to Ethiopia, if you don't already have a yellow card, your trip back needs to be more than 2 weeks, and your first day or two, you need to be in the immigration building, setting it up, getting your yellow card. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, have your shit together, and it's all online. Like what they tell you need, you could get it out here. By the way, you can get it through the U.S. or through the Ethiopian embassy here in the U.S. or the U.S. embassy here or whatever. You can get it through the embassies, but it's way more complicated, and it's more money. Whereas you could just land in Ethiopia, you're gonna pay a single visa, right? Single entry visa, $50 USD. You don't have to apply for nothing. You just hand them a $50 bill when you walk in. Yeah. They stamp your shit. You're in. Boom. You got the blue passport, right? Then you go to the immigration building. You have your folks' docs, your docs. Do the shit. Boom. You're done. They'll have it done in a week and a half, 2 weeks. They'll print it out. I have mine with my passport.
Not even that. It's like 3 days.
Yeah, right. They'll tell you a week, but you can pull up and depending on how busy it is, you can have it real quick. Yep. And you're in there. I mean, and that shit works. It's like it's a different ball game. You go to a hotel, you have a different rate. You want to fly Ethiopian Airlines. Yeah, Ethiopian Airlines is a different price.
Really?
You get local cost.
Because you're Ethiopian. So you get local cost. You pay everything in birr.
Wow.
So then it's translated from birr the other way, not the other way around. It's not $200 translated to birr. It's the other way around. You see what I'm saying? It's whatever, you're paying birr price. So it makes a big difference. And then you have the ability to start your own company. You have the ability to buy property. Basically everything except for vote. Mm-hmm. You would have to obviously be a citizen of the country to vote. Yeah.
That's amazing, bro.
Yeah. And so, I mean, I have one. As soon as he got there, I was like, yo, it's the thing you got to get, man.
Definitely
anybody who pulls up, you got to get your origin card, your yellow card. I don't know why it's called yellow card because it's light blue. But I think it's just because it's the middle color. Yeah. You don't call it the red card or the green card. So
that's dope, man. That's going to be my first steps to really touch base to my roots, man. Get my origin card.
Yeah. And then even starting a company, they it was already relatively simple, but now it's super simple. The process may take 6 days. The hardest part is not opening a company in Ethiopia. It's closing a company. Same reason why it's hard here is you got to deal with taxes and they don't play about the taxes in Ethiopia like at all. You know what I'm saying? Niggas getting locked up for a long time for skimming taxes.
Wow.
Yeah, for sure. So closing down a company is, we think we scared of the IRS.
Yeah.
Shit.
Uncle Samuel wants his money.
Well, Samuel ain't playing.
Yo, could you break this
Uncle
one thing down for me, bro?
Samson, yeah, Uncle Samson.
Uncle Samson.
Baka. Agote Samson. Si mata baka. Ciao. It's over with, dog.
Oh, man, that'd be a dope cover for you.
Yeah.
An origin card. There you go.
That's fire.
Yeah. What was you about to ask, though?
I was about to ask you, so since you the financial dude, bro, you're hip. Could you break it down why it's so hard to exchange dollar to birr and why the whole black market exists? And just tell me a little bit about that.
Okay. So, damn, I feel like you the host and I'm the guest now. You know what I'm saying?
No, I'm learning so much off of you right now.
Bro. You dead ass. Okay. So the market in Ethiopia, first of all, Forex is the issue. Having foreign exchange, right?
Yeah.
So Ethiopia is an import-heavy country, right? The deficit in that country, meaning the amount that they're importing versus what they're exporting, is crazy, right? So the problem is that the banks in Ethiopia do not have enough foreign exchange to supply the importers because people who have the resources or the products all around the world, they're not accepting Ethiopian birr. Actually, that's your source, right? You want to go buy some shit from China, you can't buy it in birr. You want to buy Oreos from fucking whatever the fuck that company is. You want to buy 1 million packs of Oreos and sell them in all the stores in Ethiopia. They're not taking birr. They want dollars, right? So how are you supposed to get them dollars? You got to go to the bank, and then they have an exchange rate, right? Simple. Problem is the banks don't have that much money. So where do these people get the dollars from? They get them from people who are flying into the country. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
At the end of the day, it's not like I'm telling you something that the government and the feds don't already know.
No, it's just I was reading about it earlier too. Yeah. And it's a common thing that people talk about all the time.
When you go to Ethiopia and you got $1,000, would you rather go to the bank and exchange that for 33 to 1 and get 33,000 birr, or some kid on the street, you could hand them that and they can come back with 40,000 birr. What are you going to do?
Obviously make a play.
Right.
Yeah.
Easy. And it's not even like it's difficult. It's not like it's like back alley shit. Like, it's going on. Everybody's going. This is just what it is. So you have the people who are in the market like that, who are simply the exchangers, right? Because they'll work the other way too, except buy and sell rate, you're always going to have a margin, right? So that same person who is paying out, 40,000 birr for 1,000, 40 to 1, let's say, going the other way around, it's going to be like 41 and a half, 42. So if you want to get $1,000 so that you can go buy $1,000 worth of product, then you're going to need 42,000 birr to go to that same guy and exchange it. Because he's an exchange man. He's a middleman. That's all he is. But he's making money. Or on a higher level, that you could have an importer, who I believe is behind a lot of this shit. The importers are the ones who are sending out all these people to go get this money, because they're the ones who need the dollars. You see what I'm saying? So they got all these birr. What are they gonna do? They're gonna give it to a bunch of people who are coming into the country who need birr.
Yeah.
In exchange, they're gonna take dollars, and they're gonna take those dollars and they're gonna go buy products. Do you see what I'm saying? So they're either doing it themselves, or they're finding their own middleman, and they're willing to take the hit because at the end of the day they need to. They need the product. And that's why the fucking birr to dollar ratio is constantly inflating because they can't keep up. You see what I'm saying? And and that is a bigger conversation as to why leaders in the Ethiopian the African government started getting killed, right? Governments as a whole, Gaddafi. If Africa comes together and decides to create a unified currency, all based off of gold, because they got all of it, or silver, or whatever the fuck, it's over. It's over for the dollar. It's over for the pound. It's over for all these fiat currencies that are legal tender, that have no backing other than their military or their oil. It's done.
Yeah.
They can't do that. So as soon as one of them get that bright idea, snip, snip, it's over. So, but yeah, so that's the reason why the exchange rate exists the way it does is because of that. It's because at the end of the day, there is not enough foreign exchange, which is why now you'll see like these Ethiopian banks coming out here. They're coming straight out here now, and they're holding these forums. They're going on these tours. They're saying, hey, come invest in our bank, or come buy this property. We'll give you the mortgage for it, or whatever. They're trying to attain as many dollars as possible, because if the banks can have the dollars, then there would be no need for a black market. The problem is that the government has the biggest bank, CBE, and the government doesn't allow the banks to hand out whatever rate they want, because surely the banks would.
Yeah.
Surely the banks would match the fucking people, the black, just to have the dollars. Like, fuck it, they're giving you 33. Fuck it, we'll give you 40. I mean, they're giving you 40, we'll give you 40. Just give us your dollars, right? It would cause a fucking shitstorm, but they would do it. And it would actually, but then the problem is that the government would lose control over the value of the currency. It would truly be free. Yeah. And then there's no telling where that goes, because it could go up, it could go down, it could sink, it could be all sorts of shit. Because then if that gets out of control and it goes up and up and up, and the birr becomes worth less and less and less, then it's like shit. Well, it's gonna be worth like the naira or whatever the fuck, where it's like 1,000 to 1. And it's like it don't even make sense anymore. A fucking peso, nah, bro.
Damn.
So they're trying to figure out how they're gonna do it. It's currency manipulation, though.
That's
yeah.
mad interesting, man.
Yeah, it's very interesting.
You should do YouTube videos where you just break down financial shit.
I've thought about
while
it,
smoking the blunt or something, just so it's a little bit cool. Too.
Yeah.
Just so it's still digestible,
Yeah, right. So I don't just come off as a nerd.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't smoke anymore.
Good.
Yeah, but yeah, bro, it's very, very interesting. That's what I was telling people, like, shit. I was telling people, shit, you want to go buy some shit, go start building a building out there, and like So if you took out a loan, and this is gonna be the last nerdy math thing I talk about, right? But you go, let's say you want to build a building, all right, and the building is gonna cost like 40 million, but I'm just using it because it's a round number, okay? Or 30 million if you would have started 10 years ago. Well, 30 million, 40 million bird now, or 33 million bird now, going through the banks is $1 million, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right, bet. You only paid 10%, 20% down. The bank pays the rest. They start building. It's different than here because they start asking for money a little earlier, and they ask for money piece by piece. But guess what? Fucking 5 years from now, the currency rate is gonna change. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So if you just if you just pay you just pay the amount, the interest and all that, you can come back door, and what was 40 to 1 or now 33 to 1, maybe 40 to 1 down the line, and then which would make the black market like 45. So then you can come back with, instead of paying $1 million, pay 800,000 or 700,000, convert it black, and just pay off the fucking thing. So you end up getting it for less. Depending on how quick you do it, because interest rates in Ethiopia are crazy too. The lending interest rates are crazy, but also the keeping your money in the bank is crazy. This is another thing that the banks do. If you go over there and you open what they call a diaspora account, the interest rate is 24 something percent. 24%. If you go deposit $1,000, a year from now it'll be $1,240 worth of birr though. So it was $1,000 would be 330 birr. Let's say, I don't know what the bank rate is. Let's just assume it's 33. And then at 24%, let's say that's roughly 8 million. You're 33,000 birr. You left it there. You came back in a year. Your 33,000 birr is 40,000 birr plus. Yeah.
That's great. So it's an incentive for people to bring dollars to the country?
You got it. Absolutely. That's the idea. Yeah. It's like, hey, just bring your dollars. Fucking sit them there. Who gives a shit? And you're never going to see those dollars again, but your birr is going to multiply. And if you know what the law of 72 is, the law of 72 is very simple. Whatever the interest rate is that you see, divide that number from 72. That's how many years it'll take to double, roughly. So 24, 72 divided by 24 is 3. In 3 years, your fucking money will double.
That's fucking crazy.
Yeah.
That's nuts.
Yeah. And that's the incentive you get as diaspora. This is what I was talking about earlier. When they create incentives for people to come and invest and do things like that, if we pump money into the banks, then they're giving you an incentive to do so, because then you come back years later and your money has multiplied exponentially. I mean, even for a regular, no, I shouldn't say regular, but if you open an account with birr, even then the interest rate is like 14%. It's still absurd. But it's not 24%.
Yeah. That's incredible. Do you have a diaspora account?
You fucking right, I do.
Nice.
Yeah.
Do you need an origin card to do that?
You got it. Boy, these questions coming full circle.
Damn, man. I'm getting a lot of free game off you right now, and I hope everybody who's listening is getting this game as well. Yeah. That's why I was asking those questions. You know what I mean? Like, that's game, and that's ways that we can literally go back home and prosper with our people. You know?
Yep.
That's smart, man. I appreciate that.
Big facts, bro. Big facts. But yeah, man. Obviously off the mic, we can always chop it up about this. I got the keys. You feel me?
That's a plug.
That's why I try to go out there and just figure it out, bro. Yeah. I try to, and shout out to all the people who hold me down out there whenever I do come out there. Obviously, like my cousin Nate. Last time I was out there for a blip, but the time before that I was out there for like 6 months. It was plenty of people who was holding me down. Nate, Nebu, Myrna, a lot of people who were like movers and shakers in the entertainment realm. I didn't have shit out there. Mind you, I didn't have nothing. You know what I'm saying? I was all my money was tied up out here and just making sure I'm paying off my debt and not, going under. So I didn't have money to just like pull it out of the banks here and go do a lot of shit there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So there's a lot of people holding me down out there. And in that time, I was able to just scope the scene and just peep game, bro. And it was like, oh, this is what it is. And just ask questions. And it's like, there's so much to gain out there that it's like, most of the people who got it, they don't care about giving you the information. It's like, you ain't finna get in their way. That's such an American thing. It's such a crab in a barrel thing. You know what I'm saying? But the reality is the people who already got it out there, they got a head start, my nigga. So,
yeah.
they ain't worried about you, bro. It's like, cool. You just gotta find the right people to ask questions.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and I'm a question asking motherfucker. Hey, tell me about this one. How do you do this one? Yeah, building. Tell me. I want building. You know what I'm saying? Give me the game. I'm in the bank, bro. They frustrated with me. Whoa. So you telling me if I give you $100, you gonna turn that into 3,000 something, but you gonna give me 24% on that. But if I gave you 3,000 something, but you only gonna give me 14% on that because I'm handing you butter?
Yeah.
That's right. Oh, wait, what? You know what I'm saying? Either way, you're losing the dollar, and either way, you're I don't want to say submitting, but you're depositing technically the same amount of butter. But because it is U.S. currency, it is the dollar. Blue C notes is what they want specifically.
Specifically hundreds.
Oh, they want the hundo.
Really? Yeah.
Yeah, because it's easier to move around, right? 520s is 100. They need to move these cash ducats in mass.
That's good to know.
Yeah. So, yeah, bro.
That's fucking game, bro. That's game right there.
And there's a lot, bro. There's a lot you figure out there, bro. There's a lot. That's just, we're just scratching the surface. Just scratching the surface.
Well, man, what you said? What do they call Dallas? The 3D?
Triple D.
Triple D. It's about one. That's actually 111 right now.
That's wild.
Where can I find the most fire grub in the Triple D at 1 a.m.?
Shit. But you see, you eat fish only though.
Oh,
see, that's the thing.
Yeah, bro, we ain't got no oceans around here.
I'm sure they got a fire veggie burger somewhere around here, bro.
At 1 a.m.? Nah, homie, not here.
I would have said Whataburger, but
yeah, you could find a fire burger, but
do you eat? Damn, so you don't eat eggs?
Hell yeah,
you eat eggs?
Hell yeah, eggs, cheese, all that.
Oh, so like
I'm a
breakfast
dirty vegetarian,
shit.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. You can get like a taquito.
Yeah, taquitos.
Get some taquitos from Whataburger. That's nice.
A taquito?
Yeah,
oh, man.
Taquito.
Man, did I really show my Texas right there?
Taquito.
You a taquito?
Yeah, I would say either
Whataburger.
Whataburger.
I'm down with that. Mexican food? Hell yeah.
I mean, it's Whataburger, but it's still...
It's Texas food.
It's Texas. Tex-Mex.
And that's open this late?
We say... Oh,
yeah,
Whataburger's 24/7.
It's a burger joint.
Oh, yeah.
It's Texas treasure. It's funny, what people consider Mexican food in America is actually Tex-Mex. That's like, literally, that shit was coined down here, and it just like spread.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't think there's too much unless you look on like a Uber Eats or something.
Unless you want some breakfast food, you can go hit like Waffle House. Ooh, Waffle House would be fire.
Would y'all be down with that movement? What's the vibe?
Saraling.
I know y'all want it.
Saraling.
Yeah, plantation calls. Massanita's there at crack of dawn.
Damn.
Yeah, but nah, man, I appreciate you coming out, bro.
Hell yeah,
I mean, I know we took you straight from the plane and brought you to the lab. You know what I'm saying? But
yeah, man. But I just learned so much right now, bro. And like, that was amazing. Yo, thank you for sharing your wisdom. You know, niggas gotta stop being stingy with their wisdom and game and try to help everybody so we can all uplift. You know?
I'm about that life.
Yeah,
I'm about that life, man. But yeah, man, Funk, you got anything for him?
Nah, man, we appreciate you coming out here, man.
I love y'all. Thank you. Dallas is a vibe. I'm gonna be out here until Saturday or Sunday, playing at the American Airlines Center, opening up for Oprah Winfrey. It's gonna be crazy. Last couple shows have had between 15,000 18,000, so you could only imagine what the energy's about to be like.
And what other cities you hitting after this? That way, people...
After this, we going to San Francisco, Los Angeles, and Denver.
Right.
Yes, sir.
Denver. Them better.
Them better.
Them better.
Ain't no these
So I hope
bees.
to link up with all my barbershops out there in Denver. I've been going to Denver for like 10 years traveling and touring, but I still haven't seen that many barbershops outside the
They
airport.
out there. They out there.
They out there.
Some beauties out there too, man.
Yeah, all of them things.
Oh yeah. So Denver, them better bodies. Holla at me.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Y'all
sir.
heard them, ladies.
Yeah. But yeah, man, appreciate you, brother. And
Yes,
you know what I'm
sir.
saying? I know you're gonna be busy in this couple of days, but we gonna link up for sure.
Appreciate y'all, yo. Peace
Yeah,
and blessings. Y'all stay black, stay beautiful.
That's it.
Yes,
Love.
sir.
Peace.
The villages.